Chapter 12. Annika sneezed, wiping down the last bookshelf. She really needed to dust more often. Across the room, Steve watched comfortably from the couch. You could offer a paw to help every once in a while. The orange tabby stretched. Smirking, she grabbed her ringing phone from her pocket. Hey, Theo. Hi, sweetheart, he greeted. How are you? Pretty good. She updated him on the case, cup of kindness, and so on. How's it going for you and Thea? Same routine. Your Thea cooking, trying new recipes, and me eating too much of it. She giggled. How's Cameron? He asked in a more serious tone. Any change or progress? Your Thea and I have been praying. Oh, thank you. We need it. Everybody always needs it, I guess. Annika found herself sighing. Well, things between us are good, but he's still forgetting. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to help him, but I don't know how. She groaned, rehashing what she told him last week over a video call. I wish Dr. Baines would stop being so selfish and see Cameron. He's our only link to the serum. He's the only one who could possibly help. She rubbed her chest and took a sip of her water, hoping it would wash down the stress. Uncle Isaac remained quiet for a moment. Well, if you feel Dr. Baines is the only one, why don't you see him? She froze, and then gulped. What? Why don't you see him? He repeated gently. Theo, I couldn't go see him. Why not? He asked. I can think of 1,000 reasons. A sharp pain pierced her stomach. She couldn't bring herself to respond intelligently anymore. She could only stammer now. Shock and fear had killed her vocal cords. How could he suggest something like that? What would be the point? Nothing would come of it. Nothing but pain and tears. I know it would be difficult, honey, but it's been on my mind for the past few days, and I wanted to share that with you. I don't think it would hurt to try. It would definitely hurt me if I tried. Annika reminded herself to breathe, squeezing her eyes shut. Theo, no. I'm nowhere near ready for something like that. A shudder rippled through her, and she rubbed her arm. Seeing him would only bring back unwanted feelings and memories. Besides, he wouldn't talk to me. If he won't talk to his own son, there's no way he'll talk to me. Well, pray about it, Annika. My thinking is, if you go and he agrees to see you, great. If he doesn't, then at least you tried. Annika felt sick inside. Yeah? He spoke again, his words flowing with support and understanding. You said you wished you could help Cameron. To me, this seems like the best chance you have in doing that. If you want, maybe I could come down for a day or two, go with you for support. Annika sagged onto the couch, murmuring another yeah. When the call ended, she sat there with Steve, trying to find comfort in his purr and his calm and content manner. But her heart continued to pound. Should she see Dr. Baines? And an even bigger question, could she? Another day at work, Annika served a sleep-deprived customer. Her insides continued to perform jumping jacks. Her fingers continued to tremble, and she'd rub them and shake them out. She couldn't get her uncle's suggestion off her mind. Sighing, she turned, and some of the tension melted away. Cameron sat in his booth. Annika fixed Cameron his usual order and set the steaming cup of coffee in front of him. He glanced her way and offered a thank you, but it lacked the affection that always accompanied his words whenever he spoke to her. How's it going, Cam? She asked. He practically choked on his drink. Excuse me? How are you? She clarified. Annika reached over and touched his white knuckles. Cameron, what's wrong? He retracted his hand. How do you know my name? Annika forced a laugh. Okay, joke's over. Very funny. But when he didn't move, her heart squeezed. Cameron, come on, it's me. He blinked, staring at her. No sign of recognition, no warmth filled those eyes. No. It's me, Annika, your best friend. Your girlfriend. He suddenly rose. I'm sorry, ma'am, you must have me confused with someone else. She was in a daze, watching him leave. This couldn't be happening. Cameron, wait! She was running after him now, ignoring the way his shoulders twitched when she said his name. Stiffly, cautiously, he turned to her. Cameron, it's me! Desperate, she held his face in her hands, stroking the faint freckles he hated but she loved. It's me, Annika! Focus on my voice. Try to remember. Broken words tumbled out, and she felt like a child again. Felt like she was losing everything one more sickening time. Don't forget me, please, Cameron. Don't leave me. Her hands, her lower lip, her entire body, and inner core shook. I love you. But instead of a light coming on and washing over him, confusion and fear poured over them both. He took her wrists in a light grasp, making her let go. I'm really sorry, but you must be mistaken. Slowly, he backed away and left her. With a jolt, Annika awoke. In her room, in the dark, in the quiet. That was a dream, right? She sat up, clutching the comforter. Her throat was locked up, like she'd been crying hard and long. She wasn't sobbing, but she was gasping out her breath like she was. It was a dream. Shaken and disturbed, she kicked off the covers and turned on the lamp. Annika couldn't let that nightmare become a reality, but what could she do? She swallowed as a thought emerged. Could she truly do what her uncle suggested? Could she face the man who took away her father and mother? Speak to the person who killed two of her closest friends? Would she be strong enough to handle the memories that would surely return? Dr. Baines had brought unspeakable pain to her and her family. She remembered it all too well. It's been 12 days since the funeral, and I still feel an ache in my heart, a gaping hole that refuses to be filled. My parents are gone, and they aren't coming back. My sweet Theo Isaac and Thea Sylvia are letting me stay with them for as long as I need, which feels like forever. I keep expecting Mom and Dad to walk in and say it was all a big misunderstanding, because parents dying in a fire is news you read about on the internet, and you say, that's awful, and keep scrolling. Sitting in the darkness and safeness of my closet, I don't fight the onslaught of tears. I can't. I can't even respond to Thea's calls that lunch is ready. How can I eat or enjoy life or function without Mom and Dad? I'm too afraid. I'm too young. I'm too confused. I'm too lost. To my relief and despair, Thea finds me. I need to be held right now, but I don't want to talk, and I don't want to listen. I can't. Without a word, she gathers me in a hug, holding me as I wail and gasp and hiccup for the 100th time. And I know it won't be my last. Will I ever have one last cry? Will it get better? Will I mourn for them in silence? And if I do, will I be able to live with myself? Is it all right to move on? I know it doesn't feel like it will get any better, Thea says over my sobs, though I can tell she's crying too. But I know it will. God's carrying us. I want to believe that. I want to feel that. But right now, all I can feel is a paralyzing weight, a pain, a shock, a gloom of numbness. How can I feel everything and yet feel nothing? Helping me rise, Thea leads me to my bed, where I sit and compose myself. She brings me a water and a grilled cheese sandwich, and I sip the drink slowly. But the sight and smell of food turns my stomach. I know I've lost weight. I know I haven't washed or brushed my hair. I know I haven't slept enough. But I can't. All I can do is cry and lie in my bed in a fog, wondering how I wound up here. In the few moments sleep does come staggering to my consciousness, my subconscious attacks with a nightmare. Theo joins us now, and they sit across from me in chairs that Mom and Dad gave them, the ones from our old dining room set. Annika, we're all hurting right now, but these are the times we must cling to our faith. Though he slay me, I will never stop trusting in him. I finger my tangled strands, staring at the water. I wonder how many tears I've cried over the course of this ordeal. Probably more than the 16.9-ounce bottle I'm supposed to be drinking from. The same God who sent his son to die for you is the same God who wants to comfort you. and I remain silent, he whispers. Nika, talk to us. I purse my lips, hoping to hide the tremor. Theo, Slowly and quietly, I release the truth, release a fraction of what's been crushing my chest. I feel like I can't process anything. I'm in this haze. I just can't right now. I understand that. But I need you to listen to what I'm about to say. Look at me. He takes my hand in both of his. The calloused grip feels so much like my father's. Satan is fighting for your soul. My eyes widen. I've never heard him speak like this before. He sounds so firm, so dogmatic. Do not let him win that battle. Do not give him that victory. I stare at them. Thea holds my other hand. The longer you stay in depression, the harder it will be to get out. Let God carry you. Thea sniffles and finishes. Your Theo and I love you too much to not tell you the truth, sweetheart. We only want to help you. I know. They won't look away. They won't let go. Taking a shallow breath, I swallow, though the lump in my throat has become permanent. I love you too, so much. I want to thank you for everything you've done for me these past few weeks. But I just feel I need some time to think, if my brain ever starts working again. As the memory dissolved, Monica went to her knees. Lord, I need you. I'm so scared. I don't want to go see him, but I don't want to let fear or pride keep me from doing what's right. And I never want to go back there, back to that pit of depression. If this is what you want me to do, please give me the strength. Monica stayed there, kneeling, listening, submitting. Fidgeting in the chair, Annika's inside shriveled up, but there she sat, there she stayed. About to speak with the man who had killed her parents. To Annika's surprise and panic, Dr. Baines had accepted her request. He was coming up. He was on his way. Why? Knee bouncing to an unknown rhythm, she forced herself to loosen her grip on her purse strap. Everything's okay. He can't hurt you anymore. But the memories and emotions could hurt. They didn't simply wash over her. They crashed over her, began to drown and suffocate until a prayer lifted her to the surface. Help me, God. Hold my hand and please don't let go. How would Cameron react to this? Would he feel betrayed? Hurt that his father was willing to talk to her and not him? Guilty for putting Annika through this torment, though he knew nothing of it? Cameron had told her plainly that he'd had enough. He was done trying remedies. He was going to learn to live with his condition. But Annika couldn't live with it. Not when she had an opportunity to do something. Besides, Cameron had been wanting to see his father. Even if Dr. Baines couldn't help him with his memory, maybe this would open the door to them speaking again. Annika rubbed her chest. How could she betray her parents like this? How could she have a conversation with a person who had ended their lives and started her vendetta? Yet, deep down, she knew. They'd want her to show Dr. Baines forgiveness, to take this step of faith. Annika was sure she'd forgiven him. She and Cameron had prayed and had felt at peace about the situation. But they hadn't seen him since he'd been arrested. Now she felt like she was falling, plummeting back to square one, and she hadn't even laid eyes on him yet. Dr. Baines said it was a crime of passion. In a blind moment of desperation, he had reacted to her father's kindness with rage. Then again, he had killed her mother willingly. He silenced her from seeing the innocent blood he had spilled, silenced her forever. Annika shut her eyes, trying to block out the images. The hammer crashing into her father's skull, her mother's screams as the same fate neared her. The door opened. Annika's stomach wrenched, and she fought the urge to wince. Looking confused and uncomfortable, Dr. Baines slowly sat, as if a bomb was under his chair, and the deafening silence overtook the room. The orange jumpsuit screamed lonely. The hair on his head seemed thinner, and those gray eyes were haunted and bereft. Annika, what are you doing here? Has something happened? He asked, when she couldn't find her voice. Panic flashed across his haggard face. Is Cameron all right? Annika glanced downward, trying to use as few words as possible. He's okay, but... What? He pressed, beginning to rise, leaning forward. She took a deep, tremulous breath. He's been forgetting things. His grip loosened on the armrest. Cameron's been struggling with memory loss. Short term. His eyebrows furrowed. What happened? Breathe, she told herself. The doctor believes it's a side effect of HPX 200. Really? But he exhaled softly, cutting into his own sentence. I still don't understand. Why did you come here? Why did it feel like an anvil was crushing her chest? I came for your help. Because doctors are supposed to help people, not kill them, she added silently. My help? You're the only one who knows anything about that serum. He sighed heavily, guiltily. I'd like to help Cameron. I'm just not sure how I'd be able to from here. I could send you all of Cameron's test results and my father's notes on HPX 200. He blinked, as if he'd received a one-way ticket to anywhere. Please, will you talk to Cameron? She swallowed. Will you help him? It seemed he paused for an eternity, processing the request. But then Dr. Baines nodded. Yes, he answered. I will. I'll speak with him. Annika let out the breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. Thank you. He stared at his hands, his dirty fingernails. You must really love him, he whispered. She nodded. I do. Annika's heart pumped faster by the second. She needed to leave, before she passed out. I'll send the test results and Dad's notes this week. Lower lip tremoring, entire body tremoring, she rose and turned to leave. Annika. She cringed and turned back around to face him. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. He cleared his throat. Thank you. Rigidly, Annika gave one final nod, swallowed, and walked away. And once she was out of his sight, she broke into a run, down the hall and out the door. She managed to find her keys and get inside her car. And then she sat there, gripping the steering wheel, trying to steady her breathing. Had that really happened? Would it be of any help? So many people he had damaged, so many loved ones, so many faces swirled through her mind. Everything caving in, Annika gritted her teeth, lowered her head, and cried.